During a time where work is completely non-existent, I needed something to help me. I just needed something to do. I really did. As most of you know, pursuing a creative endeavor is not easy at all, especially freelance filmmaking, where, the highs of your job when you're busy, you're feeling creatively fulfilled is really high. You're feeling good, it's great, but the lows can be pretty freaking low. So this video is just a quick reflection on what I did this past weekend to kind of help combat some of the feelings of, anxiety or, feelings of lack of self-worth. Just, in general, I just needed to do something creative. I needed to challenge myself. I needed to get out there. I needed to just not be inside my house doing nothing. But before we do that, I want to share a message to you. I want to share a message to myself and my future self, because Lord knows I'm going to need it again in the future. And hopefully, some of you guys can take some positivity out of this message. Work will come. Work will be abundant. People are going to want to hire you. People are going to want to work with you. When work is good, be grateful for it. And take every job almost like it's your last job. Don't take any job for granted. Be grateful for what you do have. But on the same token, when work is not busy, also enjoy it. Try to find moments of reflection in times where you're not busy. How can you grow? How can you learn new things? How can you challenge yourself? So amongst the time where you're not busy and you aren't feeling great potentially, there are always a positive way to look at those moments in time. And hopefully today I could share my experience of how I took some initiative to kind of take what I was feeling in a negative way of just not being, hired or not working at this particular point in time, and turned it into something where I wanted to find some fulfillment this weekend and challenge myself and learn new things. So this weekend I decided to commit to learn how to shoot Super 16mm film, specifically on the Bolex H16. The reason why I wanted to do this, because honestly I've been wanting to do it for a long time. A lot of the DPs that I aspire, to become one day, shoot on film, whether it's 16 or 35mm film. And a lot of the work that I see that I truly love, the aesthetic that I really like, is because it's shot on film, not necessarily digital recreated to film, but actually shot on film. I think there is a uniqueness behind it. I do think that the intentionality behind shooting film does come across in a lot of projects. And it was something that I really wanted to learn how to do as a DP and be able to, eventually feel confident and comfortable enough to maybe even shoot a legitimate project. So once I get the film back from being developed and scanned, I'm going to create a way more in-depth breakdown on how I was, how I learned how to shoot 16mm. And I say learned like it's a finished process. Not even close. But the video is going to be like how I was learning how to shoot 16. I'm going to take you behind the scenes this entire weekend and show you what I was doing and how I made mistakes, getting frustrated a little bit. But overall, that's going to be a video coming up, is just like an in-depth look on how I decided to learn how to shoot 16 by myself. Today's video though is just a recap of why taking action or taking the initiative to actually go do that thing helped benefit me this weekend and what it kind of gave me. So the first topic is set a goal. Like I said, as a DP, I've always wanted to learn how to shoot on film. It was something that I've wanted to do for a long time. So I figured, why not now? Why would I wait to learn how to shoot film? If I'm not busy right now, if I'm just going to be sitting around doing nothing, waiting for an email to come, why not actually take the initiative to actually do the thing? Like, just do it. You could dream about doing it for so long. You could sit there and plan and, create mood boards and storyboards and shot lists. But if you're not actually going to do the thing, what does that actually mean? So I just decided, okay, this weekend, I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to get the camera. I'm going to get the film. I'm going to create some individual scenes. I'm going to create some individual shots that I want to get. I'm not going to create a short film per se, but I just want to be able to take the action, take the initiative to start learning and get my hands on the camera. Besides that, I was watching every YouTube video that you could imagine on 16mm film. I essentially wanted to engulf myself in film this entire weekend. Everything I thought of, everything that went into my brain had to do with 16mm film this weekend. And like I said earlier, the goal is to kind of be able to learn how to shoot film as a DP so I could eventually potentially use it on a legitimate project or commercial or short film. But that obviously isn't just like the mechanism of holding a camera, the film camera. It's understanding light meters and understanding light a little bit more and being way more intentional. So that to me was the goal for this entire weekend, was learn how to shoot film, make mistakes, learn how to use a light meter, and eventually get to the point where you start to feel comfortable to be able to use it. Second topic is challenge yourself. Besides having to use the camera itself, learn the mechanism of the Bolex and, how to actually use the camera properly, how to use these lenses, how to focus, learning how to use a light meter. I didn't come from a film school background, so using a light meter is kind of foreign to me. And of course, I studied every video on YouTube. I rented a light meter and I did my absolute best to learn how to use it, make sure that I was reading the light properly and exposing the camera to what the light meter was reading. But that to me was a huge challenge, was actually being way more intentional with the exposure and the f-stop, rather than just like, oh, I'm gonna shoot wide open and then just ND down. It was, I didn't have access to all the NDs in the world, so it made me way more intentional with how I was actually going to shoot something. It was a new way of working for me. And by challenging myself, it forced me out of my comfort zone. A lot of the times when you are feeling negative, you're not feeling great, potentially about yourself or the situation or the time that you're in, it's easy to kind of just like sulk and get, kind of like fall into yourself. But I would advise you to challenge yourself. I feel like when you challenge yourself and you put yourself into a position of growth, that's really where you start to kind of, get out of that feeling. And the reason for that is because if you're in a moment or you're in a place of challenge, you're so heavily focused on that thing, nothing else matters in that moment. And when you're done with that thing, whether it's shooting film or learning how to shoot film, or even if it's like a hard workout, or it's like, I want to try to light something new, for example. Once you're done, you feel accomplished, you feel great because you did something really tough and you figured out how to do it and you did do it. So there is a sense of accomplishment that comes out of putting yourself through a challenging situation. And that to me was a really important part of this weekend, was really challenging myself. So I knew that at the end of this weekend, I felt fulfilled by the fact that I really dedicated time this weekend to learn and really hone in a new part of my craft. Topic 3 is the most important. Have fun. I don't know when it happened. I don't know if there was a particular point in anyone's age, but when did we kind of forget to just like have fun with things? I feel like a lot of the things that I do in my life are serious. Whether it's like podcasting, YouTube, DP work, whatever, it all kind of revolves around a business and like making money and like being successful and like, putting the best version of myself out there, that sometimes having fun is like a secondary thought. Granted, my job as a DP and podcasting, YouTube, it's a lot of fun. I have a great time doing it, but there always is like a barrier that sometimes doesn't get crossed. And that's the sense of like freedom of exploration. And that's something I wanted to explore this weekend, is the feeling of exploring without limitations, or the feeling of exploring without a boundary of, say, a client, for example. And that's something that I really wanted to do, is just have fun and explore, be around friends, smile, laugh, have a good time, kind of forget about the worries that I was having prior to this weekend. And I think that's really important too, is just like, do you have a connection of friends that you can go out and just have fun with, like smile, laugh, have good conversation? And for me, that was the case this weekend, but it also involved around shooting film and challenging myself. So all of these different things layered on top of each other for me created a really fulfilling weekend that helped me get out of a sense of anxiety or a rut that I was feeling. So I know this was a short video, but hopefully you found some little things that maybe might be able to benefit you in times of need for yourself, or if you're feeling down, or you're not busy, or you're anxious. If you're a filmmaker, it's going to happen. Get used to the fact that you're going to be busy and you're not going to be busy. But it's how you deal with the times where you're not busy that are really going to help push you forward to the next level. It's going to help you overcome certain mental hurdles that you might be facing. And, I'm not a therapist at all, but having fun definitely helps. So I highly recommend having fun. I highly recommend challenging yourself, and don't just sit there. Go out and do something. So that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. I'll see you next time. Peace out.